In a down-to-the-wire game, the Colorado Buffaloes got their first win of the season against North Dakota State, winning 31-26. Shedeur Sanders was Heisman-like with 445 passing yards and 4 touchdowns. Travis Hunter was unstoppable, scoring a hat trick, 3 touchdowns, 130 yards, while securing 3 solo tackles and playing pretty much every snap on defense. Jimmy Horn as well made a name for himself tonight, 198 yards and touchdown of his own. Oscar, it wasn't pretty, but a win is a win. Welcome in, everybody, to Buffs Banter, presented by Believe Network. My name is Dean Frank, and this is my co-host and roommate, Oscar Gonzalez-Moore. First game is out the books. We are 1-0. It wasn't pretty, but a win is a win. We got it out of the way. What stood out to you today, Oscar?
Yeah, I mean, one, just being back in that environment, man, there's nothing like Folsom Field. It was so awesome to see all the freshmen go in. They were so excited. We were talking to a bunch of them, running interviews. The North Dakota State fans were also very nice. I talked to a couple of them, tried to troll them on the interview, but they weren't having it. You know what I mean? It was cool. I actually talked to a lady whose father is the quarterback coach and coached Carson Wentz, Easton Stick, and Trey Lance, which was supposed to be my guy. But hey, no, I mean, great game, very emotional for sure. I think the part that stood out to me was Shedeur just creating so much space, man. Like, he only got sacked one time last night, but I think we should be giving him a lot more credit than the offensive line for that, because he was just creating so much space left and right, throwing it on the dime, and yeah, just balling out as he does, S2S.
Crazy stat, but it was actually his first time. Like all last season, he didn't have one game with positive rushing yards, and this was the first time he did it. So that's definitely a dub in our books. You mentioned it. I mean, the O-line was definitely the biggest kind of counterpoint that we were looking to into the season, with pretty much a whole new O-line. Obviously, we had Jordan Seaton there on the left tackle, helping out Shedeur. But one sack, I mean, they kept North Dakota State's defense pretty quiet, which was definitely a win. And yeah, I mean, Shedeur is going to do Heisman-like things. I think the casuals out there who don't really watch every single Colorado game, forget that he is that good. He is that guy. And it's just so funny, like, seeing all the comments on ESPN, Bleacher Report, House of Highlights. Everyone just has something to say. Everyone is hating. Like, the hype train is there. But, I'm at the point where it's like, I kind of like being in that position, because it means we're doing something right as a team. If people are going to hate on us, all we have to do is keep winning, and it's just slowly going to shut them up, and there's nothing they can do about it. Yes, it wasn't pretty. I mentioned it already. But Shedeur and Travis Hunter, game one, it's clearly obvious that they should both be top 5 picks in the NFL next year. And that's if they stay healthy, or even if they don't stay healthy. But of course, I hope Travis can stay healthy all year, because, oh my God, we don't even he's going to be putting up numbers like we've never seen before. Obviously, we don't know how the snap count is going to go towards the end of the year, but he missed 2 snaps on defense. Like, that is unheard of. And catching a hat trick of touchdowns, he was just so much better than everyone else. And it was really cool, because I was on the sidelines for the pregame show, and I saw him do this little post route in the end zone. And that happened to be that was his 3rd touchdown catch. And I got the video of it, and then I collabed it with the catch from the game. And I mean, he really does this. Like, he puts in the work. I saw in his post-game interview, he said he had over 10 hours of watching film against North Dakota State. So, I mean, they're taking this seriously. Obviously, we're in the spotlight of the media, but I think it was proven today that we are here to win. And I'm glad we got this one out of the way, because, it's only going to get tougher from here. North Dakota State was the FCS team, which obviously we did not take them lightly in any way, shape, or form, because they were the real deal. I mean, their quarterback pretty much looked like Josh Allen out there. He was running through. He was just he was unstoppable today, or last night, excuse me. But I guess just looking back at the game, is there any main position or main stat line do you think that we need to work on most?
Yeah. Work on most. I was pretty disappointed with the D-line. BJ Green, was definitely expecting him to have a bigger impact. At practice, he's looks like an absolute monster. I think he had a tackle last night. But yeah, I mean, I talked about it in our preview for this game. We needed to stop the run, Cam Miller completely exposed our defense. And props to him because he generally is a very well-rounded quarterback. That being said, like, man, some of the plays, it was just like there were big holes in the defensive line that these guys were just running through. So the D line needs to tighten up a little bit. I liked our secondary play. I think, excuse me. I think our secondary did a really good job actually locking down defenders. It's just like there's so many options for Cam Miller and the running back for North Dakota State. You know, he just had too much time. And if there was nothing downfield, he was just going to run it in. And we saw that so many times. I mean, the man had 81 yards on the ground as a quarterback. So
we were expecting that, though. We were expecting North Dakota to come out hot. Obviously, I think they scored on back-to-back. Or first, we held them to a field goal. But then that first half was a little tough because I think it just took us time to get comfortable. But I know bettors out there are pissed. Obviously, we didn't cover the spread. And obviously, this is just how football goes. I mean, Shedeur did throw that interception off the guy's leg in the end zone. I mean, that would have been probably a touchdown. Shiloh had that, what was it, just a PI. I mean, that was just an unnecessary hit. But
Shiloh doing Shiloh things, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to happen. It's football. But at the end of the day, a win is a win. And we're moving on to Nebraska next week. Another thing that I saw Dion talk about in his post-game press conference was just someone asked him about our running game. And obviously, it wasn't too big of a running game. Hayden he had about 9 rushing yards for, I think, 20 yards, which obviously is like about 2 yards a carry. So there's nothing too special there. But at the end of the day, it's like Shedeur had over 400 passing yards. We're not going to have a game where we have over 400 yards and a 200 rushing yard game. So, we'll take what we can get. And Shedeur threw for over 400 yards. We're not mad about that. So I guess if it was the other way around and Shedeur wasn't having a big game, obviously we would need our running game to step up. But, this was just the type of game where we knew, the over was at like 60 pregame, and we just knew it was going to be a big scoring game. Our offense showed up. Jimmy Horn, man, I feel like we just don't talk about him enough because obviously a little overshadowed with LeJounte coming in, Will Shepherd, these 2 new studs at wide receiver. We got a bunch of young freshmen who are coming in as well who can steal the show. But Jimmy Horn, 198 receiving yards and a touchdown on the night. And I mean, he made a name for himself. And it's like with NIL and everything, it's like this guy needs to make some money now because as of right now, we have 3 players that can be in the Heisman candidate. Shedeur obviously threw for 4 touchdowns. Travis doing Travis things. And Jimmy Horn had almost 200 receiving yards. I don't think this will end up by tomorrow when all these Saturday games. I think these numbers will stay unless, something crazy happens in that Georgia-Clemson game. But I think Shedeur is going to be up there. I think Jimmy Horn is going to be up there for yards. And I don't think anyone's going to have more than 3 reception touchdowns. So that'll be interesting to watch. I really hope we can stay healthy through this year because I want to just shut down all the haters, man. And there are so many. I know this hype train happened last year and we saw what happened, but it does feel a little different this year. It does because we want to win this year. We aren't all about the media and the hype. And it just does feel a little different. And I think momentum is going to shift huge until next week because, man, if we lost this game, oh, man, it would have been tough to keep covering this team because there just would have been so much haters. And there are already, but I'm glad we got the win. Is there anything different that you think our coaching or just like our strategy should have been coming into the game?
Yeah. Just to touch on what you just said, guys, I promise we are not delusional Knicks fans that keep saying this is our year. And I don't think Dean and I think, or I personally don't think, we're going to the college football playoffs. That being said, the team is very well-rounded. It was interesting. I was also wondering how not having Dylan Edwards was going to play a role into this. Like you just were talking about a second ago, this isn't a very run-first team at all or run the ball, which is interesting because with an upgraded O-line and teams knowing Shedeur is averaging almost like 350 yards a game last season through the air, it's interesting that they don't decide to run the ball more. But, yeah, I think Hayden is all right for now. It's not like Dylan Edwards was a crazy ball out player. Like he had a very good game against TCU, which we saw. But that being said, like he wasn't utilized, I guess, the way maybe he would have liked to. That's why he went into the transfer portal. But yeah, and then the receiving core, like you just said, it's a juggernaut, man. I mean, Jimmy Horn went off today. And I think that's partially due to because you got to cover guys like LeJounte, Travis, and Will Shepherd. You know what I mean? Like on the depth chart before the season started, people were saying Jimmy was going to be like wide receiver 5. And I did not agree with that at all. But that seemed to be the consensus, which is pretty crazy. And I don't think there's going to be a wide receiver 1 on this team just because there are so many good players and somebody's just going to be open, you know? Jimmy had so much space. If you go back and watch the highlights, he's just streaking down the middle of the field. Shedeur hits him perfectly almost every throw. It was beautiful. It was art in motion, as some may say. But yeah, this wide receivers core is disgusting and is going to be very hard to stop.
I know we knew this offense was going to be explosive. So I guess going into the season, I really hope that, Coach Livingston and Warren Sapp can get this defense together, because once we got the defense together, it is over. Like our O-line did look good. 1 sack on the day. Like, I love that. I really do love that. Obviously we got Nebraska next week, CSU. Like, these are games that are going to be tougher in the trenches. So I just really hope everyone's healthy. I know we did have one injury, actually. One of our leaders in the secondary, Cameron Someone Craig. I'm not too sure if there's an update on that, though. We will get back to you guys soon. Make sure you follow our Twitter, by the way, for live updates. But yeah, I guess I just want to talk a little bit about the game day atmosphere, because we haven't been in Folsom for a game in, over, I guess, until when was your last time being in Folsom? You were
Yeah,
gone second semester, right?
yeah, I was definitely there for the last game of the season. I'm
Yeah.
blanking on who they played.
Okay.
But yeah, you can't beat it, dude. And it's literally so cool. I don't know if you looked at it, but our podcast, like the art for it is Folsom Fields. And I was kind of looking at it from where we were sitting, and it was just like a full circle moment, totally. And
Sure.
it's our last year, and I'm just like so happy how far this program has come. It's packed, as unfortunate as it is that so many of our friends weren't able to get the sports pass or claim tickets this week. Like, it just shows you how awesome CU football is getting. Coming from when we were freshmen, people were leaving a quarter in or just like getting drunk for the game, like using it as an excuse to get drunk and not even go to the game, to like it taking 15 to 20 minutes just to get out of the stadium. It's amazing how
I
far it's
know. I was just trying to take in the moment, man. I was lucky enough to be. I started the game in the VIP access, thanks to 543 Alliance, little internship plug. But so that was awesome, and then I got down the field for the like pregame, and just being next to everyone, like, it was just so cool. Like, I was pushing my way through with my phone while like everyone else had like huge cameras lined up, getting ready for Dion's running in, and like I feel like we got some good content. It was a fun day. Just me, you, and Owen, man. I think we got a good team going into the rest of the season. We got to keep firing. If y'all haven't seen it yet, go follow our Instagram at Buffs Banter. Posted so much content, some live reactions and whatnot from the touchdowns, and just the full game. It's a whole journey being at these games, because Folsom Field is rocking. Sold out games all season. We know CU Buff fans are going to show up. I really do think we definitely have the best student section in the Big 12. I'm not going to go too far, say, in the country, because obviously there's teams like LSU, Penn State out there with huge stadiums. But win or lose, Folsom Field is going to be rocking. The one thing I guess as we wrap up, we play Nebraska and CSU away these next couple games, so it'll be cool to see how we can go through these obstacles. I know CSU is just down the road, but obviously it helps us play at home in our environment, and I'm excited to see what we have for the future. We are 1-0. A win is a win. I don't care what anyone has to say. You have anything to wrap up?
Yeah, no, it was excellent. Definitely a little closer than we wanted it to be, but I think it made for a very entertaining game. Like, it was just great to be back. And I love doing this podcast. I love talking with you, man. Love making the content. So it's great.
Of course, I said this in our last podcast, but starting this Thursday, CU football is going to be the center of attention in media again. And it is. I mean, we were popping everywhere: ESPN, Bleacher Report, even LeBron, like Stephen A. Smith, Skip Bayless, everyone in the sports media world. We're shouting out Travis and Shedeur, and just we're the real deal. At least them two are. The rest of the team, we definitely got stuff to work on, but we know we have two of the best players in the country. And I'm excited to run this season with you, man. Thank you guys for listening. This is Buffs Banter. We will be posting our next game, should be out on Thursday for our pregame reaction / prediction to the Nebraska game. Hopefully we come 2-0. As of right now, the line is +7, so we are underdogs. But thank you all again. This is Buffs Banter presented by Believe Network. Peace, y'all.
Peace.